My name is Julie Many, and you can consider me a master alchemist. This episode will be discussing specifics about my spiritual path as an alchemist to assist those who are new to their journey. Now, this podcast is going to cover various areas such as what an alchemist means, the types of obstacles you may face on your journey. I will briefly go over embracing your shadow self, how to step into your power, the possibility of facing spiritual warfare, ways to break the karmic loops, shifting timelines, and new beginnings. Please only take what resonates with you. If something that I say doesn't feel right to you intuitively, please do not follow my suggestions. On this spiritual journey, you will learn that our paths are unique and to always rely on your inner wisdom over any outside influences. Now, if you find any of my suggestions to be helpful and would like to learn more, I did write a short book to help those new on their spiritual awakening journey, which provides details along my path, lessons learned, and everything that I would do completely different. So the link will be included. I also created Shadow Empowerment Oracle cards. So this deck can assist in identifying areas to focus on during shadow work, because as an alchemist, I learned that I had subconscious generational wounds I was not aware of. And if I had that Oracle deck, it would have saved me some time on my path. So the link will be included if you're interested. So what is an alchemist? An alchemist is someone who is specifically brought here to heal generational wounds, to transmute negative energy into positive energy. And you might do this just naturally by being around people. We're here to restore karmic balance. Now, I'm not saying that other souls do not have wounds in their lineage that need to be healed, because they do. But as an alchemist, your path will be a bit more challenging with some complicated toxic relationships. You may find that due to a persecution wound, you already have a hard time prioritizing yourself. You may place other people's needs ahead of your own. You may be considered a people pleaser, someone who tries to fit into all types of environments but still sticks out like a black sheep. You may experience a significant amount of toxic relationships. Each relationship can be challenging and a lesson, an opportunity to grow, to set healthy boundaries and prepare you for a future karmic relationship. This will continue until you heal, place yourself first, and learn to establish healthy boundaries. Now, a few examples of generational wounds that you may experience can be poverty, persecution, addiction, and sexual abuse. That's just to name a few. So what is a karmic relationship? These are destined relationships where both parties are to heal and create healthy patterns to break past lifetime cycles. Now, these relationships can be romantic partners, friends, or even family members. The purpose of these relationships is to be one another's karma, whether it's good or bad. So as one person receives justice, the other person could be receiving judgment. Now, this is not to be confused with the twin flame, which is when both parties mirror one another and heal together. So karmic relationships, each person's on their own to heal, and they can be extremely volatile if one party isn't willing to do the work to heal. So you may notice there's a trend of one person being an empath and another person being a narcissist. But you will learn that saying no in these types of relationships and setting healthy boundaries to protect your peace is not a form of rejection. Now, it's important to note, with intimate partners, there is an exchange of karma. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you're dating someone, you may notice that things in your life start going poorly while things in their life go better. This means that you have just taken on their negative karma and you're transmuting it for them. So it's just something to think about in intimate relationships as an alchemist. While you're going through your shadow work as an alchemist, you will be called to step into your power. All right, so what does that mean? There's going to be various ways that you do this on your journey. You're going to learn to be your authentic self, to speak your truth. You're going to become comfortable and find peace in the dark as part of your ascension, because that's where your light shines the brightest. You will find that true empowerment is by embracing your shadow. And what I mean by your shadow is that aspect that everybody hides, those traumas, fears, inner child wounds, maybe a little anger. Yeah, you're going to empower yourself with it. And you're going to instinctively start putting boundaries in place as soon as you embrace that aspect of yourself. When I say that you're going to start putting boundaries in place, I mean these are going to be strong, inflexible boundaries. You are going to feel like you're making up for lost time, protecting your peace and holding those boundaries. Now I'm going to briefly talk about sacred rage. Sacred rage is using anger as a tool for positive change. As an alchemist, because we transmute negative energy into positive energy, you can use anger as a tool. It's the only way I survived Dark Night of the Soul. Basically, all we're doing is transmuting anger into empowerment. You're using it as fuel, as part of your transformation. Now, of course, be safe, don't hurt anybody, but it's an option. Something to think about. I'm going to start going into some details of what I experienced in my karmic relationships just to help everybody else out. Now, please understand it is unique. My path was complicated for a reason, as an example to share with others, so your journey may be different. Now, if you are experiencing spiritual warfare on your journey, it just means that you're a witch or a shaman, and you may be working with deities on your journey. If you are an ascended master, an old soul, or have an impactful purpose, then you may face some challenging obstacles to prepare you for your purpose. Now, on my path during Dark Night of the Soul, I experienced people I didn't know existed. And this included a coven, corrupted officials. There was a plan to take me out, and when it didn't come to fruition, then the targeting started, the hacking, cyber stalking, identity theft, falsified allegations and documents. That's just to name a few things. I'd like to reiterate that my path is unique and that it is meant to be an example, it is meant to be in the public eye, and it is meant to be complicated. So please don't let it scare you off. This is not for everybody, but it's allowing me to help others with how I was able to successfully get through this process. Now, on my path and the experience that I had, my karmics sent a relentless amount of spiritual warfare my way. They sent glamour magic, illusion spells, mirror magic, death magic, obsession spells, chaos and mind magic, just to name a few. Now, I want you to understand you are heavily protected. And I was shielded until I was ready to step into my abilities to protect myself. So they were sending this to me, and I wasn't fully aware until I was tapped in. So I just want you to understand, you are protected until you're ready. And everything that comes through is coming through as a lesson. Learning that there was false allegations to the authorities about me upset me more than the spiritual warfare, and it had the adverse effect that the karmics were hoping for. They thought that they could kick me when I was down, but really, I used sacred rage. Within a few minutes, something just unleashed within me that it was like, whoa, who do you think you are? You can't stop me on my path. So let me get into how spiritual warfare physically felt for me and the cleansing techniques I used. So it came through like a dark cloud. I would feel my chakras individually as they were blocked. My legs would tingle when they would send spell work to slow me down. I had some back pain, but I think that they used some voodoo. It was nothing unmanageable. If you decided not to do the cleansing techniques, you could easily take Advil or ibuprofen, but I chose to do the cleansing techniques because I wanted to clear my chakras so I could continue my ascension and be connected and tapped in spiritually. So what I would do is in the morning, I would drink lemongrass tea, and then I would also listen to LNL light language. If you go onto YouTube or do a simple Google search, you will find so many videos that are extremely helpful. There are videos for hexes, for cord cutting for trauma bonds, for cord cutting for abusive relationships, for dissolving toxic contracts. There are videos for simple ailments, and it does transmute the energy. Now, Reiki also helps. So if I had a specific chakra, I would, of course, probably prefer Reiki over the LNL light language. And then at night, I would take a cleansing bath with some Epsom salt and some herbs, and of course set an intention. And that worked great. Although this is mentally challenging to be a pin doll, I just want to mention that as you focus on yourself and you continue to raise your frequency, the impact of the spiritual warfare that's being sent lessens. So what did I do to deal with the spiritual warfare? Right. First, I became comfortable with protection spells. And I called judgment. Universal law, it was my right for my situation. I called judgment on all of them. Now, if you're comfortable with it, return the spells back to sender. I want to mention, I naturally transmute. So when things are sent to me, it's already being transmuted. And then when I turn it back, they do not get the full effect. But because I was dealing with so much spiritual warfare, I intuitively felt the need to return it to sender. So follow your intuition and how you feel called on your path. Then, because I know the coven was using illusion spells to put people against me for all their false allegations, I created truth spells. What is done in the dark must be brought to the light. Let those masks start to slip. It might take a little time, but it works. This is one way that you are going to step into your power and become your authentic self. Now, the next step, you may be getting signs and synchronicities from your divine team to speak your truth, to stick up for yourself. And you do this how you're intuitively called. Each of us has a different strategy, a different technique based on our situation. But once you do that and you're speaking your truth, you've stepped fully into your power, pay attention to the signs. Because I notice people get stuck here. Your team might be sending you signs, letting you know it's time to detach. It's time to pull back your energy, to cut the cord permanently, and let the universe handle the rest. So once you've done all of this work, you gotta have faith and let go and be in your divine feminine flow of letting it unfold in divine timing. This is around the time where you're going to get signs and synchronicities from your divine team that you have already won the battle with the karmics. That's why it's time to detach and step back and pull your energy back and cut the cord, and because you've already done everything you need to do. You just have to maintain that positive mindset, maintain that faith and patience so that it can catch up in your physical world. And you may have to do this while you're still getting spiritual warfare. So you have to just try to maintain that calmness, the forgiveness, and just allow it to unfold. It is a bit chaotic because as your karmic gets their karma, you will get yours. So it's a whirlwind. You may even get signs that you're going into a new timeline, a new beginning, but you're still in dark night of the soul. It's because you're still waiting for everything in your physical to catch up. And you might still have just a few limiting beliefs to let go before what people call the quantum jump. This is, in a nutshell, a simple overview of my journey, and I'm hoping you find some suggestions helpful for your spiritual path. Take it one day at a time and congratulate yourself on the small wins and milestones along the way. You can do this. Keep rising.